A guy showed up earlier and gave us a whole new medicine cabinet. This isn't exciting to anyone but me, probably.
No, it's exciting.
It's a big mirror. Think of all the shelf space we can have and all the counter space we can free up.
I know.
You're putting all of your gross hair stuff in there. All of my shit can go in this little bag right here, but all of your stuff.
I have a lot of stuff.
I don't know. This isn't good internet content. Someone knocked on the door a minute ago, and we were all very frightened because the UPS guy knocks very hard on your door. It sounds like it's the cops almost. Weird sort of thing. Kind of weird.
Is the brim like wider?
Yeah, the brim goes up a little bit at the sides. But
Cowboy.
yeah, kind of. Oh man, it is nice to have a new hat. Quick product review. This is the Dorfman Pacific Indiana Jones model crushable one. My one I normally have is the non-crushable Dorfman Pacific Indiana Jones model, which I cannot recommend because it's coming apart. It's got like holes in it because it's stiff, and when it does eventually get crushed, holes appear. Anyway. I look pretty good, actually, though. Sure.
I won! The game of popping.
Yeah.
It could be an Olympics.
They don't come with bubble wrap anymore. Things don't come with bubble wrap. They just come with those big pillowy ones. Okay, so I got that hat a little over a year ago, last summer, when I lost its predecessor by putting it on the back of a bicycle and then going down a hill on that bicycle, and I thought I'd firmly secured it, but apparently I had not. It disappeared. Hold on, let me put a light up. Yes! I love that. I miss putting lights up. Where was I? Okay, yeah. That hat. It was always a little too tight and very stiff. Let me remind you that this is the non-crushable Dorfman Pacific Indiana Jones branded fedora, brown, size large. On its tag, it said it was large, which was, anyway, so it was always a little tight. It also said that it was fur felt, which I felt sort of legitimized its $80 price tag. And that was $80 on sale, by the way, at the kind of fancy store downtown, which I believe ripped me off. It was not fur felt, it was wool felt. I mean, its own tag said this, but another tag, a more honest tag, a deeper tag, told me it was wool felt. Now, this doesn't matter to anyone except people who buy hats. It's wool. It was wool the whole time. It was also stiff, and it was too small, and it kind of hurt my head for a long time. On top of that, after a little over a year of constant use, it developed holes in these overlays that you can see. Now, the only other hat I'd ever had that developed a hole was a straw hat, which I guess maybe hole development is a facet of stiff hats? I don't know. Now, I wanted to buy the hat that one replaced, the Golden Gate St. Louis. Great hat. Turns green, though. Not waterproof at all. Turns green after a while. But soft, very nice, keeps its shape fairly well. But they stopped making that. They discontinued that hat, which made me very sad. Very sad inside. Maybe there's still some somewhere, but I've done a good bit of looking online and I cannot find it. So, what I settled on was the thing closest to the idea in my mind, which I realize is very heavily inspired by Indiana Jones, that I've seen those 3 movies 1 million times, to the point where I can't watch them anymore because I know exactly what's going to happen every single second. You know, watching them again, it's kind of interesting. As an adult, you get some stuff out of it that you didn't before, like the plot of the first one all of a sudden made sense last year. Like, before it was just like, oh, fun things going on. And then last year I was like, oh. I mean, I don't know what had been confusing me before, but it all of a sudden just sort of clicked together and made sense of the story. Anyway, so what I settled on a little while ago is the $30 very wide-brimmed Dorfman Pacific crushable Indiana Jones branded fedora. Now, I like a center dent fedora, and this one appears to be a C crown. I don't know if you can see that. It kind of goes around the back. Which, I mean, I knew that when I bought it, but it still kind of frustrates me a little bit. However, it is so very comfortable. Now, you can't actually accurately review a hat having only worn it for, I think, 2 hours at this point. Yes, I've been wearing my hat around the house while I made lunch. But I really like it. I like how wide it is. Like, compared to this one, look. Let's do a side by side. It kind of looked like a cowboy, honestly. I had a hat once that, it was my first felt fedora, actually. I wore it so much that the edges started to curl up actually like a cowboy. And that's how cowboy hats got their shape, by the way. Originally, Stetson just sold this one hat that had it just looked kind of like this. And then, after, throughout time, cowboys would just like grab it and sleep on their sides or whatever and form the shape of it. I don't know if that's exciting to you in any way, but it's my video, so whatever. Anyway, going back to my story about my first hat, this little tiny kid in Barnes & Noble, they looked up at me and were like, oh, look, Mom, look at the cowboy. It kind of killed me inside. I would be like, no, kid. Whatever. No accounting for little kids. That is a very wide brim. I hope I don't look too much like a dude. It's kind of complicated wearing hats these days. Well, not these days. It used to be a lot more complicated with all this, like, internet politics stuff. Like, bronies. I hope none of you know what a brony is, because it's terrible. Or, like, men's rights activists. I'll give you a quick rundown here for the uninitiated. Bronies are adult men who watch the television show My Little Pony, and yet don't really understand that it's for little children, little girl children, and they're like really weird about it and gross. And men's rights activists are people who shout very mean things at feminists without really understanding any problems that men really face or advocating for those. They just like are reactions against feminism. It's really annoying, actually. They don't do anything for like prostate cancer or toxic masculinity. They just yell about affirmative action and whatever. And the problem is that both these people are so like aesthetically similar to me. They all wear hats and they don't believe in God and they have a f***ing Nerf gun on their wall. And I don't want them. I don't believe in men's rights activism causes, and I've never seen the television show My Little Pony. I mean, I happen to know that it's called My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and that the main one is yellow, I think. And that's just from an NPR article, and Hazel's sister gave us a little plush horse. And I think it was probably the main character. I don't want to be that guy. I really hope I'm not that guy. Hat politics. Ugh.